You know, we talked about, you know, whatever Twitter was exploding about yesterday briefly, but the thing is I didn't want to talk about like everything about it. I just wanted to talk about like what I think about the, you know, like the business sides of it, or like a kind of a meta conversation about like what brings people to feeling some way. And then there are too many damn people in the comments of the clip that was posted on YouTube being like, can someone give me context? Why doesn't she give me context? I want to know all the context. And I'm like, man, just go look it up. Like, I explained a good amount of it without getting into the personal side because I wasn't trying to report on the personal side, you know? Red, thank you so much for that 20. That's crazy. Thank you. That's crazy. There's also a fuck ton of people making videos about it, so like, yeah, you can find it easily. But I'm just gonna say I didn't want to like go back and give a full rundown of everything because I'm not a reporter. I'm not a reporter and I'm not trying to report on a scenario. I just wanted to use that as an example to talk about a parallel topic. The meta topic at hand, not the specific scenario so much. You know, so just saying that is the point of the clip, or the point of me talking about anything. Yeah, we're not going to get into like the personal side of stuff because it doesn't affect me on a personal level. It does affect me on a business level. I did actually realize I tweeted yesterday. I thought back and I realized something, that the timing matches up. Nana was actually someone that I was trying to commission to. I was having my Bistro manager do it, so I wasn't the one like talking to her about most of this. But she was slated to do a an outfit for me. You remember me when I talked about going to Nano for a while around the time? Yeah, I talked about it back then too. I was like, oh yeah, I might want to work with her. I was like, guys, I might work with her. I was excited. I even talked about it on the stream. Not for a full model, it was for the outfit. And then I was told by my manager when we met sometime later, like it was slated to happen, and then was just like, hey, she said she can't do it. She's basically ceasing like all work for a bit, and I was like, oh man, I hope she's okay. That's it, you know. No, absolutely. Now that I know the context and everything, even so, zero hard feelings toward Nano in this situation, zero. But yeah, I was thinking back to it and I was like, oh, and it wasn't just me, you know, which is crazy. There was another one in that batch as well, so I was like, damn. Okay. But yeah, so my shit, I was totally fine because I was like, damn, that sucks. Would have liked to work with her. I'll find someone else. And then I found someone else. It wasn't a big deal to me. I was just like, oh man. And that was it. But yeah, I realized. And I was like, oh. Damn. But it's good to have the context now, you know. Like, honestly, I was more concerned. I was more worried at the time. I thought she was having like a major medical issue that she wasn't telling anyone about, or something like that, you know, like, or like a huge behind the scenes family thing or something. Like when someone is like, yo, I'm ceasing all work for a bit, usually it's that. So I was like actually more concerned. So it's kind of relieving. It still sucks, but it's a bit relieving to know it wasn't that, right? So I'm actually glad, if anything. Nightshade, thank you for the 10 gifted. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. But yeah, and I'm not gonna allude or guess that any of this was targeted at me specifically. I think it was just a general like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cease things with a bunch of people. So I want to make that clear. I don't think my name was specifically mentioned, like don't do this or anything like that, to my knowledge. Before anyone starts saying that. Dad to Roth. Oh my god, another one. Thank you for 20 gifted subs. You guys are crazy. Absolutely crazy today. Absolutely insane. Hold on, let me scroll down. There are a few more. Ray, thank you for gifting 1 sub. Ots at 45 months. That's crazy. I'm still... Moo! I'm still ultra chill with a lot of people who are smaller creators, you know, and a lot of my friends who have been my friends since the beginning still can message.
Geegler.
Otz is one of them. He's right there, resubbing for 45 months. He's one of the first people I met in this community who I actively hung out with, and he's right there. And I you know? Make guys shout him out when he's here. I'm like, oh, guys, I played Vintage Story because I saw Ots playing it, you know? Just saying that that's a good thing to do. You said all the stupid fucking Clippers. X addresses controversy. Doesn't cover what the fuck actually happened. I still have no clue what she did. Yeah, I mean, I wish they would title their videos. My clip was titled like do this but not like this, because I was talking about the meta of it, and people were still in my comment section being like, okay, but what about the specifics? What about the personal side of it? And I'm like, well, I'm not talking about that because I'm not on the personal end of it. It doesn't have to do with me. That's for the people who actually, you know, were on the personal side of it to talk about. I'm even telling you, I was even affected by this scenario in some way now that I'm, now that we've realized. But even then, I don't see myself as part of the personal part of it. So I don't really want to insert my thoughts on the personal level very much. I've said like a couple little things and that's it. It's not my story. So I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't care to sit there and talk at length about all the specifics of the scenario, because that's just like news reporting, and I don't do that, you know? It's rare I say anything on any scenario like this. The only reason I'm talking about this one is because there was a bigger meta conversation I did want to have on top of it, because I do see this in other scenarios of people, you know, being a little different in front of friends or whatever, and then going out of their way to make a move that might harm that person's brand or hinders them or stops them from getting a nice thing that they're trying to get or whatever, you know? So that's why I wanted to talk about that side of it, or the more business side, the more clinical, sanitized side of things, the very cut and dry stuff, not, you know, not in the weeds of personal shit. I mean, also there's so much that has not been said by the other side, and I don't really want to get into talking about like thoughts on people's personal issues, whatever, in general, but also especially when one entire side has said practically nothing, you know? Like, for me personally, someone who's not even like in it like that, I don't see the point in me developing even a full opinion on it, unless there's something else said from the other side too, or something like that. And even then, if I develop an opinion on this scenario, it doesn't affect my life at all. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't change anything. There are people who are very much affected by it, people who are really close or were really close to this person. Like that, they're the ones who, you know, should talk about it or something if they want to even. They also don't have to say a damn thing. They could just be like, oh, crazy, and then not say anything. You know what I mean? It's more just if they want to. But, you know, it is what it is. The main thing I want you to take away, though, in general, is anything I said was not a defense of the behavior. I want to make that very clear. There are some people that seem to think that because I didn't, like, again, come in with, like, a steel chair on it, and I didn't, be like, that's fucking crazy, you know, or, like, sound over-emotional, that maybe I was like, yeah, so you hate waffles, exactly. No, completely unacceptable behavior. I think I've kind of clearly said that when I was talking about it, but I think if you don't, like, crash out, people think you're, like, approving. Or something like that. I don't know. And when I say people, I mean, like, 5 people. Nothing crazy. It's great hearing Cotton have so much fun in Block Wars yesterday. Yeah, I was glad she could join us. I was glad she could have fun with us, have a great time. That's all I hope for people who are personally affected by things like this, that they can just find more people that are legit and have a great time. And to be honest, you know, I did say yesterday, like, look, there are more people behind the scenes that do these things. When I say more people, I mean some more, a small pocket more. The vast majority of people who are creators are able to separate these types of emotions and how it might affect their personal relationships, whatever, with their business. They're able to separate personal and business pretty well. People always misstep. Every good person can do a bad thing, but most people, they do like one slip up. Oops, sorry, I won't do it again. You know what I mean? Vast majority of people in this community are totally fine. And I think the one thing I've seen on Twitter a bit that is not good is a lot of people being like, "This is why I don't make friends. This is why I can't trust anyone. This is why I'm," and I'm like, at least in my experience, and look, I'm a very social person. I've spoken to a lot of people in this community and got to know a lot of people. Vast majority of people I've met have been totally fine. Totally fine. And you will occasionally identify someone that has some red flags, and if you don't want to interact because of those flags, you have a gut feeling, that's fine. You don't have to be interested, in being friends with anyone. But you shouldn't be scared of befriending people or being active in a community because there were some bad eggs. And there are people fear-mongering, and I don't think they're doing this to be assholes. I think they're just like worked up. But there are people who are like tweeting a lot of things out like everyone's like this, they're all like this, and no. In my experience, no. If that's their take, that's fine. You can think what you like. Maybe they need to get better at finding people. Maybe they need to try more. Maybe they gave up too early. Yeah, don't overcorrect, exactly. My experience has been really good in this community. Yes, there are some people who ladder climb, but compared to a lot of other streaming communities, I think the VTubing community has been overall a lot more supportive. Truly, genuinely, really nice. There's so many people that are so great. And I've made so many legitimate, wonderful, incredible friends. And we keep each other safe. If someone is doing something behind the scenes that isn't so great, a lot of people will let people know, but people are also very soft in this community. They tend to let a lot of this stuff go because they're like trying to see the good in them. They're trying to support. They're like, oh, they just did one thing wrong. I think they can learn from this. People are really forgiving, and I find that this community is both better for it, and it does mean that some of these people maybe overstay their welcome a little, or their behaviors do for sure. But this community is also one that has let a good number of people who've made smaller mistakes bounce back from it and not completely cancel every little thing. So I found that this has been a really nice community, actually, and a lot of people have stayed here and learned. And that being said, depending on how bad your shit is, I don't know. I just hope people, learn. That's all. You wonder what GamerSubs is going to do? I mean, I don't think they can make a quick decision. I think a company making a knee-jerk decision is a very bad idea. They probably need to get full context and figure out what to do. It's a lot more complex than just cutting someone off or something like that. It's a very complex issue. You can do whatever you want with any company. If you don't like that someone is signed to something, whatever, you can always not buy products. No one has a gun to your head making you buy products. At the same time, don't force and bother a company to make a statement or make a decision right now. There's just so much shit they have to go through. They might have to sit with lawyers for weeks if they want to do something and figure it out and negotiate something, right? So, just they're going to need time to figure out whatever they're going to do. I think it's okay to call out behaviors. It's okay to be like, that behavior is bad. There are people now coming out later and starting to dunk on her for some things that have nothing to do with the situation, and they weren't even bad things that she did. And I'm like, I no matter how much you dislike her overall at this point, I wouldn't do that. I don't see the point in doing that. Shouldn't you just say nothing, right? I don't know. Yeah, the witch hunt kind of thing. I'm not a fan of that. I'm gonna be honest. You could walk up to my friend and slap them, and I'd be like, okay, maybe you should get slapped back. I'm not gonna go beat up you for the next month. You know what I mean? People start to pile on all this extra shit, and I'm like, let's just focus on the actual topic. Because it's not that I think a person who did a bad thing is totally undeserving of whatever karma comes their way or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm not defending. I'm just saying keep in mind, it makes you look bad. If you're now that this person is dealing with this thing right now, let me dredge up some old shit to bully them over that wasn't even a bad scenario that they did. You know what I mean? I think that makes the person doing that look bad, even if their reasoning comes from a place I understand. It's a little weird. Like in examples, I saw people like pulling up one of her old covers and being like, "This shit sucked," and I'm like, I don't think we need to talk about that right now. You know what I mean? Like you can have your opinion on it, but like, I think the it's not even the context of what they're doing. It's like the purpose of like, what is the purpose of that? Ooh, I was waiting to bully someone and I couldn't before because I didn't have a reason. Now that I've been given a reason that I can not get consequences for, now I'm going to bully them. That's what that says to me. So just remember that if you start piling on extra shit that has nothing to do with the scenario, you might look really bad. People like me will look at that and be like, ew. So, you know, keep it to the actual bad things that they did, you know, or whatever.